Hey, what's up? My name is John Bonjour. I am a comic artist and film enthusiast. I have drawn some art and I would like to enthuse about some film. Today we are talking about Marvel's Ironheart. Okay, so I'm going to dive into some non-spoilers real quick about the show, and then really I want to talk about some spoilers throughout, so let's get right into it. First and foremost, Ironheart is a show that Marvel did not promote almost at all, which is psychotic given how much promotion they were giving to like a Secret Invasion or like a, I don't know, Secret Invasion, or perhaps say a Secret Invasion. Like the fact that they promoted that super hard, and then Ironheart they were like, oh, I don't know, 3 episodes here, 3 episodes there, it's coming next week. Anyway, goodbye, is psychotic to me because this show genuinely is so much fun. Like this is a show that the effects are solid, the acting is great, the writing is pretty great, honestly. Like it's emotional, it's impacting, it's exciting, there isn't a weird lull, it doesn't feel like they were trying to hide some major thing that they didn't intend to hide, it doesn't feel completely restructured. It's just a solid, fun show that I really liked, and I have absolutely no idea why you wouldn't promote the hell out of it. And it's sad to see that the people who are watching it have to do more word of mouth promotion than the people who made it. I don't really want to let that reflect how I feel about the show overall. Non-spoiler thoughts, there are things about this that don't work. There are elements of this show that I think feel a little bit disjointed. There's a part of it that feels like this really interesting, dramatic, magic, technology, grief, observation, tension thing that I think works really well. There's a very interesting kind of element to Ironheart's character. Riri Williams is a wonderfully interesting character, way more interesting than in Wakanda Forever, especially in this show. She is kind of a bad person, and I think that's a thing that makes her character very interesting, is she's trying to do good. She just has absolutely no idea what that looks like and doesn't really have like a great role model for that, so she's just kind of like, I don't know, this billionaire made a suit, I can also make a suit, I'll do something kind of like that. And then she ends up getting way astray. The whole show is about her dealing with the idea that she needs money to make the kind of things that Iron Man could be, and so she needs to get money somehow. And how do you get money really quickly? Well, you do a couple of kind of shady things and then getting sucked into that world. And the whole show is about choices. It's about morals and decisions. And I think those elements of the show work really good. There's a thing I'm going to talk about later in spoilers that really is kind of the highlight of that theme that I think is beautiful. It's brilliant. That said, there's also another side to the show that feels a little bit beholden to being more Marvel-y, and it feels like it needs to be funnier and a little sillier and a little goofier in ways that I'm like, it's a 50-50 shot if it works for me. There's a character, Joe, that I think is like, I'll dive into in spoilers, but his character is one that to me works about 50% of the time. And when he's working really well. And when he's not working, it's a little bit frustrating. But that's pretty much my thoughts on the show. Overall, without spoiling anything, Ironheart is really fun. And if you haven't heard of it, you should definitely go check it out. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. I also have a mild problem with the show. And again, it's a lot more like my marketing issue with the show. Where are we going with this? This show leaves on a place, and I'll get into this in spoilers, that I think is going to be really annoying to not address for as long as we're not going to address it. Before we get into spoilers, what did you think of the show if you have seen it? Why haven't you watched it if you haven't seen it? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. But if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend checking it out. And really quick, if you're a piece of shit that doesn't watch the show because there's a person of color or a girl, you're probably not going to like the show, to be fair, but also don't be the way you are, be better than the way you are. Before we get into spoilers for this show, thank you for watching this video. It means the world to me, it really does. And also, if you like what I do, or if you don't, it's a completely different change of pace. Please read my comic book, Edge of Bordertown. It's on johnbonart.com. It is 100% free, and it always will be. I'm so freaking proud of this book, and I really want people to read it. So go check that out. The new pages are being uploaded every week. They're being uploaded a week early on my Patreon, patreon.com/johnbonjour. Eventually, I want to kind of rope more of this kind of YouTube stuff into the Patreon, but for now, it's mostly about the comic. So please go hit up my comic, Edge of Bordertown, again, johnbonhart.com. And also, if you just like to listen to my voice, I do a podcast with my two best friends called the Motion Picture Retribution Power Hour. That's MPRPH podcast, where we just make each other watch bad movies, and it's hilarious. So go check those out. Let's dive into some spoiler thoughts for the show. So it feels wise to just kind of start with the obvious spoiler of the show, which is just Mephisto's here. Mephisto is finally in the MCU. He's played by Sacha Baron Cohen, who is Borat, which it took me way too long to realize. I really like the way that he plays this character. He's constantly shifting in and out of different accents and different vibes and tones. He's this conniving little manipulative creep in a way that I think you could play that in a really boring way, or you could play it in a very, very interesting way. And I think he's doing the very, very interesting way. I like that he feels like somebody you wouldn't believe, you wouldn't trust, but also you do kind of believe that he could get you what you want in life. Like this is a guy who, if he came to me and he was like, I will give you all the subscribers in the world and all the readers of your comic, I would be like, I don't like you, but I do believe that you could get that. Like, I believe that you could make that happen. I just don't like that about you. Sacha Baron Cohen is playing it absolutely brilliantly. Dominique Thorne, by the way, this is just like a side note, is so good as Riri Williams. She is so much fun. I think the way that she plays this character, what she does with what she's given is really, really heartfelt, very genuine, and really fun. She genuinely seems like she cares about this character. I have no qualms with the way she was handled. I think she is phenomenal in this show. She also plays really well against Natalie, her AI created by the memories of her dead friend. And there's this question of like, is AI real? Is AI alive? Which is like, this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're not really going to touch on that because it's like, we already saw Ultron. Ultron was as alive as a person could get. So like, we're not really going to touch on the ethics, the morals of AI necessarily, but we will touch on the idea of bringing your friend back from the dead, which is the decision she makes kind of twice in this. And that's what I'm saying when I say that it leaves on a frustrating place, because the way that this show ends, Riri makes the decision to go into cahoots with Mephisto to bring her friend back from the dead. And she says, well, she justifies it by essentially saying, you just want me, right? And he's like, yeah, all I want is you. And she's like, okay, that's fine. Which you have to know is the wrong plan. Like, you've been fighting the Hood this whole time, but you must know that that's not the right idea. Point being, it's a very interesting choice, and I think it's a choice that makes a lot of sense for her character. One of the things that makes her character interesting is that she is actually flawed, which is a thing we don't get very often. Most of the time, the teenage superheroes are usually brilliant and right and smart and perfect all the time. It's nice to see somebody be not smart or perfect all the time. Reminds me of She-Hulk or Ms. Marvel. It's like, these are characters that are making mistakes, like Spider-Man. They're making mistakes and they're recovering from those mistakes. That's where their character gets interesting. And I'm excited to see where this does eventually go. She's kind of possessed almost or manipulated by Mephisto. She has her friend back. All of these things are very, very interesting, brilliant cliffhangers that make me want to see more of the show. The problem is I just don't know if we're getting more of the show or if we're going to get that in anything else. It's like, it's a very strange place we're in, because the next thing that's coming out is Fantastic Four, which of course is not going to tackle this. And then after that, well, we have Eyes of Wakanda, which also is not going to tackle this because it's an animated show. And then after that, maybe Daredevil, the Punisher show, and then Doomsday. Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure there's nothing in between those. So it's like, unless she's just not going to show up in Doomsday, which is entirely possible, or maybe she does and then we just don't address it. Like when are we going to see this come to fruition and be something? And by the time we get to it, I fear that they will have kind of forgotten about it and we just won't do anything with it, which is a shame, because this is one of my favorite Marvel shows. I genuinely loved this series and I would love to see more of it. It feels like Hawkeye, where it's like, I would like to see another season of this. I just don't know if we're ever gonna get another season of this, and that would be a huge bummer. Another kind of spoiler thing that I want to talk about real quick is the Hood. Anthony Ramos plays the Hood, who is the villain who's possessed by Mephisto, or, dealing with Mephisto. Mephisto gave him his cape and all that. There's a fun little bit where they talk to another, magician witch thing, and she was really fun, by the way. Just a fun little add to the show. I like the dynamic of magic versus technology. I think that's really fun. Point being, the Hood is that there's a bit where they think he might be possessed by Dormammu, which is kind of a fun little tie-in, but that's obviously ends up not being true because it's Mephisto. He's good. He's a solid character. I think he's very interesting. I like the Hood as a character. I kind of wish, and I think Nando V Movies brought up something like this earlier on. I kind of wish they had done something more dramatic with his hood itself and made it a little bit less like a costume piece and more like a living kind of creepy organism thing. It's fine that they didn't, but it does feel, it's a little strange when he in the final battle goes like full demon for a second and you're like, what? Where did that come from? Like, that doesn't feel like something that this has been able to do. I would have liked to kind of develop the power set of the Hood a little bit more. But what they do with him, I think, is solid. They give him a little backstory, which is great. It's not too much to really digest. There's not a ton going on there. Not really what the show is about. It's more about Ironheart and her decision-making process. There are some really fun action sequences in this, by the way. There's a great one in White Castle, I think, or Crystal. I think it was a White Castle. That was really fun. It felt kind of akin to Iron Man 3 in some ways that I really liked. The suit at the end, the final suit reveal that's made with her dad's car is, it's crazy. I mean, it is just like, it's one of the best suit reveals we've gotten, certainly in one of these shows, but it is one of those things that I like. Marvel keeps tempting me, especially with the Thing design and now with this new suit. They keep tempting me to just get more action figures, and I really want one of these action figures. I don't even know if they're going to make one, but if they do, I really want that specific suit because it is gorgeous. But all things considered, I really did love Ironheart. I appreciate that it's not connected to the MCU in a way that feels frustrating or kind of played out. It feels like it does the connections it needs to do, and it plays with some things that we haven't really gotten a chance to do. Oh, that was the thing that I was like, I'm a little mixed on, about 50-50 on Joe, who ends up being Ezekiel Stane, who I realized later, he's a guy in the comics, it's a character in the comics. I recognize his outfit, it's a lot cooler than it is in the show, but you never know, they could adjust that for, they could always adjust that. I don't know where they're going with him. I think when he gets his upgrades, there's like some of it that works and some of it that feels a little bit CW's Flash-y to me. There's some of it that doesn't necessarily work. It feels a little cheesy. But I think the core of his character is good. This guy who's like doing illegal things, collecting illegal things, but also trying not to be his dad, Obadiah Stane. I think that's a very interesting character. Him being a villain for her is really cool. I like that she now has two villains kind of running around. We're building like a gallery of villains. She has Ezekiel and the Hood, who doesn't have his hood now, but who knows, maybe he will later. Point being, I appreciate that they're giving him like an arc. I appreciate that he's kind of left to kind of go out into the universe and maybe be a guy who shows up in things later on. It a little bit feels like this is supposed to be the setup for an Armor Wars, which I knew they were going to do at one point. It feels like this is maybe what Armor Wars was going to be about, is like a magic technology, is it good, is it bad kind of hybrid thing, and that could have been really interesting. They're not doing it anymore, so it's like, I'm not sure what the plan is here, but that is neither here nor there. That's a thing they're not doing. Whenever they do touch on this again, I'll be very interested to see, because I really, really liked this show. Another minor nitpick, which really doesn't matter, but it's a small complaint. It feels like the crew, the heist crew that was set up, I'm relatively sure that they were supposed to be there for like the last building of the suit section, and then for whatever reason they just kind of got cut out of that section, and maybe that was a reshoot, or I'm not sure what that was exactly, but it really feels like they were supposed to be there. And there's a couple of things that kind of point to that to me. One, they have their arc where they're like, no, the Hood is a good guy, like we want to support him. And then Riri is like, are you sure? Because he might have killed this other guy. And then they go and ask him if he killed this other guy, and the Hood is like, I don't know. And that fulfills the Hood's arc of being like, I'm pushing away everybody around me to get what I want, which is great. That's all well and good. But then their arc kind of feels unfinished, because they get fired and they all leave, and then they're never seen again. Like, they just all kind of leave. And it feels like they were supposed to come back in at the last moment and help Riri build this new suit. Supposed to be a communal team effort. And it just ended up kind of not being. And then the other kind of point in that favor is her final, like, I don't know, her final little gadget, her little gimmick is a big bomb that explodes out of her suit. And then she projects like this broken suit and her kind of out of the suit, all of that. You've seen the show. That whole thing felt like it was supposed to be a clown ad where she was supposed to be like, we gotta put a bomb in there. And there was supposed to be a moment where Riri would be like, don't put a bomb in there. And she'd be like, no, put a bomb in there. That feels like something that was supposed to be in this, and then it just kind of wasn't, where now it's just like, okay, I guess I'm glad you thought of that as a backup plan on the off chance that the exact thing that happens needed to happen. Feels a little strange. It feels kind of out of nowhere, where I think in that version, at least if I'm right, in that version, it would have felt like, oh, that's fun that the thing that Clown was like dead set on having in there happened to work out really well. I also could see the two bruisers could have a fun little montage moment where they're like testing out the suit and fighting against it. There's a lot of things that it feels like would have fit really well in there, and I don't think it would have taken anything out. I'm not sure why you would cut that out, which makes me wonder if that's even true, but it does feel like maybe even in a script version there was supposed to be that, and it just sort of never came to fruition, which is a little bit strange, but that really is that is a pretty minor nitpick if I'm being honest. Overall, I do think this show is really solid, and I'm excited to see Riri Williams wherever she shows up again. I'm interested to see more of her character, whether that's in a Champions or a Young Avengers or in an Ironheart Season 2 or an Armor Wars if they ever decide to do that again. Whatever they do, I'm excited to see more of her character, and I really love what we got. So I'm mixed in the sense that I'm so happy with what we did get, but it does kind of feel like a thing that I really don't know where we're going. So those are my overall thoughts on Ironheart. What did you think of the show? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Would you like to see more of it? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video and checking out my channel. If you'd like to hear more of my thoughts on movies, comics, TV shows, Ironheart, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and comment down below what you'd like me to review next, or do none of that because I am not your dad.